tremendous looking trophy.
Hello and welcome to Platinum Stories, number one PlayStation podcast in the Oceanias. My name's Black. Joining me, as always, Usher Helper.
Hey, I'm excited to be here, but I gotta say, another week of showing your power here on Platinum Explosion. You complained last week about not hearing about anything about Goodbye Volcano High. Mere hours later, delayed announcement.
It's true. I didn't even check that in the show notes, Oopsie. Yeah. What was
Listening.
Yeah, maybe that's why I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, Volcano High delayed because they decided to reboot the story or rewrite the story. So.
See, I know the press email probably went to everybody, but I like to think it was specifically sent to us because you talked about it.
I hadn't heard anyone else be like, where the fuck is that game? So, again, given that I haven't heard anyone say it, I'm just going to claim that I'm the only person in the world that was saying it. Because I feel like I can surely get away with that. I have no idea. This week on the show, not that much to be honest. There wasn't that much news last week, at least as of recording. So talk about Hades released on last week on PS5. So we'll talk about that in a moment. And Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut released on PS5 as well. I'll have my impressions because I haven't had a chance to play much. That came out on Friday. Friday. I haven't had a chance to play that much. I've started the Iki Island, so you'll get my thoughts on that. But otherwise, we'll get that later. Hades though, let's get straight into it. Hades, our Explosion Network Game of the Year for 2020. Fuck, I nearly lost what year it was.
Last year.
That's last year. Our Game of the Year for 2020 finally released on PS5. It's out on Xbox as well, of course. It came out on consoles finally. It was only on Switch PC previously. We played it on the PCs, the personal computers last time. It's now on PS5. It runs at a higher frame rate. It runs at, you get the DualSense features, maybe 3D audio that I can't remember if that was a thing. I know. It's basically just, potentially, depending on where you was playing it, depending on the type of PC, depending if you was playing it on Switch, now runs at like 60. It looks prettier. Probably look prettier depending on how you was playing it. Have it on your TV. You can use a DualSense controller. It changes colors of the lights. Otherwise, the most important thing is the best game of last year. Still back. It still runs well on the PS5. And how much are you diving in? Are you still enjoying it again?
Yeah, I'm still enjoying it. You know, I dive back in. They go like 20, 25 runs in, dying in Elysium. You would think after hours and hours and hours of play that I might have been able to get through pretty quickly. No. Fucking Bulliminos.
Yeah, so you're on the same boss height. But this sounds like I'm fucking, I don't know how many runs I've done. I've probably done like maybe 5, 6, I think. I did like an hour maybe. I don't know. Maybe an hour and a half I played. I don't know. I'm sure my profile says. So I haven't played that much. But yeah, I haven't got past the bull either. I felt like I was getting, my second run I got to the bull. I was like, fuck, man, like...
skills transferring.
Yeah, because it took me like probably 30 runs last time when I was playing on PC to even get to the ball. So it's good because I remember like complaining or like having that fear we were talking about last week, like, oh, it's coming to PS5 now. Are we going to like, haven't played it for a while or, it's like a different controller, even though it's a controller I'm more comfortable with, but kept thinking like, is it just going to all fall the shit? But no, still retain the general know-how, even though I don't have all the upgrades and things unlocked that I was used to playing with and whatever else. It's just that same just general layout of, you know what to do, you know how the enemies react, kind of the dance of the game, I know what boons and stuff that I prefer to take for the different weapons. So all of that still counts for something.
All that, which items you prefer to stockpile early on.
Yeah.
Like, just get as much darkness as you can to start off with so you can boost the mirror effects as quickly as possible. That kind of stuff. But yeah, it's cool, like, going back to the start of the story and like, that line, that's kind of plays into what kind of happens later on, knowing, like, reliving the story, knowing how it ends, is also quite interesting. It's like, and seeing kind of the relationships develop again. And like, Meg really didn't like you at the start.
And having areas blocked off, like, you start the game, like, I don't even have like the bar area unlocked yet, or whatever, the lounge or whatever it's called.
Damn, when do I get fishing again?
Yeah, where do I get fishing? Where can I get? There's so many like random things coming off it, but I think it says a lot about the game that you can dive straight back in, and not only is the story still fun to play through, but it's just mainly that the gameplay is just so good that done however many runs to. And again, I don't feel like this is a spoiler for people who play the game. So you beat the game once, you ain't done with the game. You have to beat the game 10 times. You have to beat the final boss of the game 10 times to get the final ending of the game, or the legit ending of the game, so where credits actually roll. So, however many runs we did to beat it that 10 times originally to get those credits run, which is quite a lot, and then played it for heaps after that, doing some heat runs and whatever else and trying to work all that out, and now diving back into it fresh. So we played this game so many times, so many hours, it still continues to be just fun. It's just doesn't feel repetitive at all. And, I definitely feel there's times where I nearly booted up the other day. I was nearly going to boot up, but I'll just play for half an hour. But then in my brain, I literally had that little angel on the shoulder go like, you ain't going to play for half an hour. You're sitting there all fucking night playing. Because it's like, just one more run. Just one more run.
Yeah.
It's just, just one more run. It's fine. You got the time. Next day, it's like fucking 2 a.m. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Oh no, what have I done? So, yeah. Hades PS5 definitely worth picking up. It's cheaper digitally than physically, but it's out either way. However you want to go about it.
Yeah,
do what you need to.
I haven't been in shops, but if I see one of those cool physical editions, I might be tempted to pick it up.
Double dip.
Get that cool art book and the shiny cover or whatever.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. Maybe I should look this week. I may be tempted too, to be honest. I don't know. It's the same thing of just wanting it digitally because you just don't really want to delete it off the console or take the disc out or whatever, but just buying
I feel like I'm going to slowly grind my way to getting that platinum.
Yeah. I'm not in a huge rush because obviously we've already played the game and it's fine. And especially knowing that when I booted it up, I didn't feel like I was playing a Souls game where I'm like, man, I don't know how to fucking play this anymore. The fact I could get up to the bull on my second run, I'm like, it should be okay if I just come and go from this game. I don't feel like my brain
get a bit of luck and
it's controls and the basics are not that complicated. That I get on, I it takes 10 minutes or whatever. That first time I was playing it, and I actually remapped one of the controls. Actually, I remapped I remapped dodge to R2 or something like that because I was actually I think I got used to playing it with the Pro controller. And I had the dodge dash button to one of the back buttons. And that's how I played it. And I got so used to that, obviously, that when I was playing with the DualSense, I was like, what the fuck? Circle is dash, right? I think on the basic control screen. And then obviously square is your attack, or square and triangle is your attack. But then it's that whole thing of, you having to take your thumb off you've got one thumb for that. And I was used to playing it where I could just be dashing and attacking quite easy without taking my hand off the dash button. So again, this is where I missed my bloody back button attachment that I had for my PS4 controller because it's not like it's cheating. That's how I'm sure a lot of people played it with Pro controllers on their PCs and whatever else. And it does help for this sort of game where being able to dash and dodge is imperative to a lot of the fights.
Absolutely.
So I guess that's my number one tip. Maybe look into remapping the dash button to something a little bit easier. Hello, it's me. I'm solo now. Ash has disappeared. We're going to talk about Ghost of Tsushima, Director's Cut, and the Iki Island expansion thing. Originally, I was just going to record my impressions, and then we'll talk about my impressions, but I only played slightly less than an hour when I was recording the original show, and then I played some more later that day after we recorded. I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm getting close to finishing this, so I was like, I'll just wait, and then I woke up this morning because I had today off work, and I've smashed out a bunch this morning. I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna wait. We're just gonna wait at this stage because if I felt like if I waited, then we would have got to next week's episode and would have been so long, nearly 2 weeks since the release. It just felt like I don't know. At this stage, whatever. So it goes to Tsushima Director's Cut. PlayStation sent me a code on Friday, so I only jumped in over the weekend or late weekend or whatever it was. It is, in case you somehow don't know, even though you're listening to normal PlayStation podcasts in Oceanians, you probably do know. But Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, of course, has the base game upgraded. So now it runs at 60 frames per second, targeting 4K. You can put it in the mode that always just sticks to 60, or the one that's targeting resolution to hit 60. I left it at that. It plays really well. You can notice the difference. Of course, when you get to those high combat scenarios, the 60 frames per second feels drastically better. And even just roaming around the world on the horse at high speeds, you do notice the frames, and it still looks really, really fucking good. Like the game already looked good on PS4, of course. It looks that slight bit better, but I think it's just the 60 frames paired with how good the game already looks. So if you already liked how Ghost looks, and Ghost looked, I mean, who didn't? The game already looked really, really good. There's little to complain about in that factor. So you got the main game. You've got the Legends mode, of course, which is free anyway, and they're adding this other multiplayer component to that in like a week or so anyway. So I'm sure we'll talk about that when that drops. And then the main thing is the Iki Island expansion. So the other stuff you get is on top of the 4K resolution, targeting 60 targeting 4K. You've got DualSense haptic feedback added now, of course, on PS5, which is really, really good. It's one of those, I think this is one of those things with DualSense is I feel like we're going to get to a stage with these PS5 games where we're going to get used to it, and we're going to stop sort of talking about it, which I think is fine to a degree because it will just become part of the ecosystem, but it's still worth pointing out that I think what DualSense stuff is going to be really good when you're not really noticing it because your mind and your body, or however you want to put it, are just enjoying it as part of the experience. So, like, I'm not at all ever playing Ghost and then thinking, oh, wow, isn't it crazy how these DualSense features or haptic feedback, like, there are times where I'm like, when I first started, I'm like, oh, this feels good. Like, obviously, you've got some simple stuff like the bow, arrow. Obviously, you've got the tension and the triggers. It does it well. It's not like too hard to pull. It's just it feels good. Like when you release, it feels natural. It doesn't make the game feel any harder. Or some of those other games have made the triggers too tight, and it just feels like you're getting a weird thumb or finger workout while playing. No, it works really well, and it adds to that. There are also other things where different weapons or just clanging in battle, swords and all this sort of stuff, you're getting haptic feedback for that. You're getting haptic feedback for different sorts of terrain you're coming across. The vibrations. Now, the original game would vibrate when you were close to like a collectible or whatever if you're searching for one. Here, it's just it's easy to tell that apart from the other vibrations you may be getting or haptic feedback you may be getting from what you're doing. It's really hard to explain if you haven't played a PS5 at this stage or DualSense, but that all works really, really well. And then the other thing you're getting is 3D audio. It sounds really, really good, of course. The game already sounded good, but it's slightly improved, I guess. I honestly couldn't tell you if it's better than the original. I remember it sounding really good when I played it. It sounds really good here. I haven't gone back and like played the PS4 version. It sounds good. It has 3D audio. It sounds good. I don't know what else to tell you. And another thing they've improved is the Japanese VO lip syncing, which was a major problem in the original release, where it did that weird like sort of when you get the American VO or the English VO for they used to make fun of it in all those old kung fu movies where it was like completely out of sync or whatever for the English VO. So that was happening in this for the Japanese VO, which didn't really make sense. And now apparently, according to the power of the PS5, they're able to properly sync it. I don't really know why or how. I still don't really get it, but it's a thing, and it is correct. I went New Game Plus, started up with the Japanese VO, and it's much better. Like remember we were all complaining about it back in the original. It was like, why is this so fucked? And it was fucked. I don't know why it's fucked, but it was. That's the thing. So that's the main game, and that's all very fun. That's all very good. I think you can upgrade the PS4 version to PS. I think it's like $30 or something like that, maybe $20, $30. And then it goes closer to like 40, I think, when you want the DLC as well or whatever. I don't know. And you don't get a free upgrade for this sort of stuff. You get it all with the Iki expansion. So the Iki expansion is obviously the main reason you'd play this, and that's what I've spent the main chunk of time playing. It took me, I looked at my playtime of the director's cut. It says 11 hours. So if I take out a little bit of the New Game Plus fucking around, I'm going to say it took me like 10 hours to, roughly 10 hours to 100%, or nearly 100%. I'll explain the nearly in a minute. To 100% that DLC, get all the trophies and finish the story and whatever else. So yeah, the story's fine. I'm surprised. Like, I don't want to spoil it for people playing it, obviously. So the main setup is that it takes place after Act 2. It goes to Tsushima, the main campaign. So obviously I just loaded up my save, which, by the way, asterisk points real quick. Getting your PS4 save to play Director's Cut on PS5 is a lot easier. Still not as easy as it should be, but is a lot easier than some of these other PS5 games has been, where all you need is the save on your console. You don't need to re-download the PS4 version of the game to upload it to the cloud and then download it through the in-game software. You just need to go to your PS Plus cloud save, if you don't already have it on your console, of course. If you've been playing Ghosts PS4, you're good. But if you don't have it, or you haven't played it since you got your PS5, simply download the save file, and then when you go to Tsushima PS5 Director's Cut, you can then read that save file, and then, like, I guess they make a copy that's the PS5 version, and you can load back up the game. And it's an auto pop platinum, so double fucking thumbs up. I love auto pop platinums. I'm happy for an easy platinum. Then the other thing, so you got Iki Island is, I would say you can finish the story in probably like 3 hours if you just rush through it, and then you've got all the random other stuff that you of course had in the main game. And it does feel very much like it is just DLC for Ghosts of Tsushima, so it's not like breaking much new ground here. The story is that you come across these Mongols, I guess, at some point, and they were on the island. And then Jin's like, oh, where the hell did they come from? And he discovers they came from Iki Island, which is off the mainland of Tsushima, like slightly off or whatever, like off to the side. So he catches a ride there, and then he gets there, and he wants to stamp out the Mongols that are there, because he doesn't want them coming over to Tsushima, and all in all, Jin just wants to stamp out all and any all Mongolian invasions anywhere, I guess, that's sort of his pact at this point. All of that's fine. The main bad guy is like someone called the Eagle. I wasn't like super invested in them. It's slight spoil for like the first half hour, I guess, but this is sort of set up. It reminded me like Batman Arkham City or Origin. I can't remember which one was. But Jin very early in the game gets like stabbed with like a poison thing. And then this is right before you sort of let loose on the island to do what you want to do. It's like after he first arrives there by the Eagle. And then for like the rest of the game, you're sort of having these random things where he'll be hallucinating. And you'll hear the Eagle talking to him and be like, oh man, these people don't trust you. And like, oh, this shit's fucked, eh? And all this sort of stuff. Like, it reminded me of the Batman seeing the Joker stuff, weirdly, I guess. It's not all timed up to certain story missions or whatever. Some of it seemed like naturally just random as you're like exploring the overworld, so that's cool. But the main important cool part, I guess, of the Iki story, and I don't know if I completely forgot this because of course I haven't played the game for a while since I finished it, or if it was never mentioned in the core game, but you find out, and again, I don't think this is a spoiler. I really do not think this is a spoiler. This is just set up very early in the expansion, in the Iki Island thing, and it may have been mentioned in the main game, and I completely forgot about it. I don't know. But of course, you know in the main game, Jin was there when his father died. I always assumed that was on Tsushima somewhere. It turns out that no, that was actually on Iki Island. And it was when his father was sort of waging a war, I guess, against the raiders or whatever. They're on Iki Island. So when Jin gets to Iki Island, he automatically doesn't want to tell anyone his last name. Wants to keep everything sort of covert. He wants to team up with, find friends there, but he needs to do it while making everyone sure they can trust him. They don't really trust samurais in general, so they definitely won't trust him if they learn his last name. If they learn his Jin Sakai, I think that's his last name. So that's the whole thing, and then you get these flashback elements throughout the whole Iki Island thing to Jin and his father having conversations, and all the events leading up until his father died, and you get to sort of play that back. There are some optional ones, there are ones that are just part of the main campaign. That was the most engaging, interesting part of the Iki Island DLC. I definitely enjoyed that part as like sort of backstory character stuff for Jin. Some of the other stuff I was like, I can. The main, like, as I said, the eagle bad guy, whatever, it was fine. It led to boss battles and you fought and whatever else. They introduced like one new enemy type, I think, from what I could tell. It's like a shaman who like does a chant and then causes all the other people who you're fighting against to do consistently unblockable attacks. So you've got to like play around that or chase down the shaman first to kill them and get them out of the way, or do what you need to do. And then there's a whole bunch of, as I said, there's a bunch of, as you'd expect, optional stuff to do on the island to 100% it. You don't all have fox dens now to find. You've got like deer, cats, monkeys. You summon these using flute songs that you have to like do a little mini game where you move the controller up and down to like play a song correctly. You've still got some of the poem things. Fuck, what are they? Haikus. You still got some of those. You still got some, bamboo cutting. All the shit you already done. There's random side missions that are either showing up on the map. There are miscellaneous missions that you just come across and they aren't marked as missions, but they are actually missions. You need to do something to get a trophy, which leads me to my one complaint / point as a wrap up here. To get the 100% in the trophies, the Iki Island trophy list is put into 2 parts, which is fine because we know we're not going to get a platinum for the expansion anyway. It's just a bit weird. They're split up. So there's one for story missions, 100%, it's fine. And then the other one's for sort of miscellaneous stuff, including some of the offbeat, more optional tasks, like, do all the non-fox dens and all that sort of stuff. Well, one of them's for doing all the unwritten tales, which are the missions or things that you'll come across that don't actually show up as mission objectives. I couldn't find the last one, so I Googled it, because people had, of course, had already played the game pre-embargo, and there was already guides out, so very good, thank you very much. And it turns out that one of them you have to do is for a character you talk to who tells you about like the Ghosts of Tsushima Legend stuff. And I'm like, okay. But you actually need to beat Legends and then talk to them again in this to complete a mission for them by telling them the tale of what you're told through the Ghosts of Tsushima Legends thing. So you actually need to play Legends to get all the trophies in this. And I was like, man, that's kind of annoying because I never finished Legends. I think me and Ash only did like 6 out of 9 or whatever missions. But then when I load up Legends off this save file, it hasn't saved. So I'd have to start again fresh for the PS5 version, which is sort of annoying. I mean, it's not like a negative on the game itself, just a little tidbit annoyance for anyone who cares about that stuff / trophies, I guess. But yeah, is it worth playing? As I said, I've got 10 hours to 100%. The DLC expansion, that's 10 hours. That's like the length of a lot of full price games or whatever. And it's the Ghost of Tsushima experience that and love. If you want to replay the game, if you want an excuse to replay it looks better than ever, it sounds better than ever, it plays better than ever. It's very good. It's still the same game. Like, I feel like you would know if this is for you or not. And if it's not, and if you haven't played it, if you missed PS4 and you just got a PS5, get the director's cut. I feel like it's a no-brainer. But otherwise, I don't know. I would probably, the DLC isn't mind-blowing. Certainly content-wise very good. If I was to mark the DLC, it'd probably be around a 7 or whatever. And I feel like if I was like, and then if I post a review, which I should, if I was to like guess, I'd probably give it the same score, maybe slightly higher than the base game because it's more content that runs better and all that sort of stuff. So that'd be for the people, I guess, who are coming in new. Because it's one of those weird things. It's like if you're coming in new, really, it's 100% worth buying. If you've already played the game, is it worth upgrading for like that $40 or whatever? I would say that $40 for 10-hour expansion, it's a decent expansion. It's not a bad expansion. It's more ghosts. Yeah, sure, have fun. Go for gold. But I don't know. It's up to you. It's a hard one. These weird DLC upgrade things. I feel like some of the upgrades should have just been free. The DLC should have cost like, it kind of works out. If it's like $40, it's like the DLC to me is like worth $30. If I was to put a price on it, and then that's $10 for the upgrade. So, I don't know, price is probably right. What am I saying? Anyway, back to the rest of the show. let's get into some news. Not that much to run through, to be honest. And now that I've said that, there'll be a state of play over that. I say that every time, and it doesn't happen. Keep hearing all these rumors. No, it's not going to happen. But now that I've said that, for sure, it's definitely going to happen. But now that I've said that stuff.
But now that you said that, it won't.
It's not going to happen.
But it's like.
But now that I've said that, no, I'm joking.
Schrodinger's cat podcast.
Yeah, that's true. So let's talk a little bit about Black Myth Wukong. So Press Start writes a new 30-minute Black Myth Wukong trailer has arrived, and it still looks absolutely phenomenal. Press Start writes exactly a year ago, a game called Black Myth Wukong was announced to be in development by Chinese studio Game Science Studio. Pause for a moment. Holy, can you believe it was fucking a year ago that it was because we talked about it on here, like the original like thing.
It could be. Let's be honest. Time works different. Apparently 2 years according to the calendar, but it feels like longer.
Insanity. A 30-minute trailer dropped for the game showcasing a major boss fight as well as a bunch of quick snippets of other boss fights in the game. It still looks absolutely phenomenal.
Side note, I don't think if your thing is 13 minutes long, you can call it a trailer.
No, it's a
gameplay.
So the interesting thing is it was posted on the NVIDIA. So as Shannon writes here, the game will run at 4K 60 frames per second thanks to NVIDIA DLSS, and it also launched with ray tracing. So the fact that it's being heavily promoted by NVIDIA bodes well. So that's where this was uploaded. NVIDIA shared it on their official channel. You know, it's like, and it's a NVIDIA DLS reveal trailer. So there's no reveal trailer for Wukong. It's a reveal trailer for the fact that it's running on NVIDIA DLSS and showing how well it runs on that. Thus, here's 13 minutes of gameplay. And he also points out that it's only confirmed for a PC release, but the reason we talked about it on here originally is because it was actually being shared by a lot of PlayStation people, and to add on to the fact, I'm pretty sure this gets scooped up as potentially a PlayStation console exclusive. Shuhei Ishida is quite a big fan of this game. So I'm going to say that this is coming to PC, and I think I'm at least reading between the lines of the sort of people I'm seeing like and tweet about this game and stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if this isn't picked up as a PS5 console exclusive, at least for a time thing, and then it's on PC as well. So, considering that, but it still looks really, really good. I mean, I don't know, there's nothing insane to say about it. It looks as good, if not slightly better than the last time we saw it. You got these massive, obviously, fights that look very Souls-esque, or however you want to say it. You got that. I don't know. It's hard to tell sometimes because. Like, it does look Souls-esque, but it's hard to tell just how hard the game is, because unless you're seeing a character get hit several times, it's like, well, how many times can I get hit? Like, how hard is this? How punishing is the game? How much room for... Because you can watch Ghost of Tsushima gameplay and be like, man, that shit looks hard as fuck, but maybe it is on hard difficulties, but like, depending on the difficulty you're playing on, you have enough room to get hit several times before you'll die and lose out horribly. But, this still looks really good combination of all these powers and moves and the different... forms of what do we call these different forms? I can't remember. The different stances. There we go. That sort of stuff. Showcase different boss fights, I guess, and looking around the world, it sort of introduces the story trailer. As you get down to the end, he's fighting a fucking Leviathan. No, what do you like? Sea dragon, Leviathan thing.
Just a dragon.
Yeah, dragon, I guess. Yeah,
white dragon,
which is insane. It looks like you're fighting the. Here, I've got the fucking Dragon Balls here. I'm here to make a wish, mate. What do you think?
Well, I mean, it's not surprising because obviously, it looks really good. Like, definitely getting that Souls-esque like type of combat. Like maybe, God of War, maybe a little bit softer, like combat style. But it looks very pretty. This is one of those games that I'm definitely keen. Well, I'm keen for once I've been reminded again that it's a game that's coming.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. The Journey to Mystery, or Journey to the West, story is like something that's always interested me, and I've watched a couple of different iterations of it. So definitely keen for this game whenever it comes. And that's cool to hear that PlayStation might be courting them. Obviously, they've had a bit of history with like Chinese studios. Obviously, they've got Fist coming in a few weeks. So,
I really don't feel like I'm like stretching to say that PlayStation may pick this up as a console exclusive. I feel like the writing's on the wall. If you just
Okay.
I feel like that'll come. I feel like that'll be it.
Well, it's not, at the very least, they'll give it a promotional push, I think.
Yeah. It's the same as like, Deathloop's being pushed as a PlayStation exclusive. It's on PC as well. You know,
Yeah.
May get one of these things. Presto also writes, new PS5 model has appeared in Australian stores. This is just a random tidbit, weird little thing. So they write, Shannon writes, last month we reported on the fact that PS5 Digital Edition was set to get a slight upgrade, becoming 300 grams lighter, as well as include a new base stand screw that can be adjusted without using a screwdriver. Oddly enough, an upgrade was never mentioned for the PS5 Disc Edition, but looks to have also been updated in similar fashion. We can confirm that all Australian PS5 stock that has landed in the country this past week, contains a new model, CFI-1102A. I believe this makes us the first country to receive stock of this new model, either digital or disc. There's nothing about this model mentioned online, but we've been able to confirm with the purchaser that this new model does in fact include the new screw that is able to be adjusted by hand and doesn't require a screwdriver. Although we can't confirm at this moment, we assume that it is a slightly lighter than the original PS5 model. Sony has yet to confirm the exact changes to the new model number, and as far as we can tell, these are the first of new models arriving anywhere in the world. At the time of writing, we weren't able to find the manual for the new model, but the manual for the digital edition can be found online detailing the changes. Blah, 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 blah. And yes, I know someone that got one of these, and yes, the screw was different as well. So, the one,
well,
there you go.
From the image, it looks like, obviously, it's like a plastic top where you can grip it with your fingers to twist it.
To turn it instead of requiring a screwdriver, yeah. It's such a small change, but at the same time, you go, why wasn't that just... Why wouldn't you thought of that in the first place? Because that stands a pain in the fucking ass. I don't know if you ever tried to actually get it. Oh, you're just standing up, isn't it?
Yeah, mine's standing up.
Yeah, so it's a pain in the ass.
It's fine. What, to unscrew it?
Yeah.
No, you just get something that like fits the groove.
Yeah,
you can
but
twist it.
why? Yeah, but don't you think the fact that they didn't just make it this original one that you could just screw with your hands, at least somewhat, first?
I mean, you can screw it into a certain extent.
Right. I don't know. It's just like one of these small changes. I'd be interested to know what else.
I think it was just like extra safe. Like, let's make sure they tighten it as tight as possible, so this doesn't fall off and we don't open the story for the PS5 launches. All these PlayStations are falling down.
It's been an interesting week for PS5 consoles because they had a whole sort of injection into the Australian stores market. Like EB Games had a whole bunch of stock go up on like Monday or something like that, and it was a fair chunk. Like pre-orders were up for 2-3 hours, I think, before I saw them finally go down. Like I don't know how many people got, but there was enough going through that people getting them. So they're currently, if you got a pre-order. It says coming October, but it gives you a note saying that if they arrive early, you can get it earlier than that. But it currently estimates you'll get that stock by October. Amazon had an injection of stock. Target, I think, had an injection of stock. Big W's rumored to be getting an injection of stock sometime this week. Possibly that's already happened. I don't know. JB and stuff got an injection of stock. So I don't know where the fuck all these consoles come from, but it's just funny that they sort of just...
Probably China.
I mean, I don't know. They sort of just creep into the country somehow and then get them. Like, there was none for so long, and then there's just... Alright, well, a bunch of people got pre-orders.
Well, yeah, they finally came out of the oven. Here you go.
But somehow Australia ended up with the new model before they got pushed out anywhere else. I don't know. Even though it's not a big change.
That's because they're slightly lighter, so it was less heavy. So they could get over here quicker.
Yeah, fair enough. Makes sense. Oh, weird one. But there you go. So all you people picking up PS5s, good job. Happy for you.
So cool. Does that make our original ones more expensive or like valued now? Because
sorry to tell you, but no. But you can hold on to it as a collector's item if you want. Just make sure you don't lose that original screw Woo!
Do you reckon you'll be able to buy the screw separate?
Probably.
For people who want the other
from
screw?
fucking Bunnings, yeah. You turn one of the new models into an old one. It'll have the wrong code on the back of it for the model number, but you can make it look like the originals if you really want. Eurogamer writes PlayStation exclusive prehistoric adventure Wild has reportedly been cancelled. So we've covered this game a lot, talked about it a lot, and I kept being like, man, this game looks good, can't wait. Now, the update on the story makes a lot of sense, and sorry to say, but rest in peace. Wild, the promising PlayStation exclusive open world survival adventure from Wild Sheep Studio, is reportedly no longer in development. Announced back in 2014 for release on PS4, Wild was due to be published by Sony Interactive Entertainment, with Rayman and Beyond Good and Evil creator Michel Ancel at the helm until the famed designer announced his retirement from games industry in 2020. Wild only properly surfaced one time following its announcement at Paris Games Week in 2015. And gameplay details remain limited to this day. We do know, however, that players in the role of a shaman could possess and play as a variety of wild animals, including a bear, eagle, and shark. It was blah, 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 blah. Now, however, 6 years later, the project was reportedly cancelled. According to journalist Jeff Grubb, speaking in a Giant Bomb video, he said, quote, "There is no Wild anymore. Wild is dead. I think Michel Ancel abandoned the project. He's not working on it anymore. The project got shut down." Ancel, for his part, insisted the Wild team was autonomous and the project was going super well at the time of his retirement. Of course, if you don't recall, Michel Ancel retired, but this was following allegations of workplace misconduct and other things. And instead of sort of seeing that through, he sort of just happened to retire at the perfect time, I guess, to a degree to avoid all that. So that's part of that. So I'm going to say at this point that Wild is definitely fucking dead because the game was just up, down, up, down, up, down. I'd report on, I'd see an article that's a rumor, I'd bring it up on here because I remember really liking the idea of the game, liking that original trailer, but I'm going to say it now. I'm going to put the word out there. Wild is dead. Sorry, everyone. It's gone. You're like, everyone out there who's like, Dylan, no matter how many times you brought up this game, still can't remember the trailer. Well, I'm sorry for you. It was a good trailer. COD Vanguard Alpha. Would you like to play a game? Play it this weekend. If you want to hear our thoughts on Call of Duty Vanguard, go listen to Arcade Couch episode that came out yesterday. Because we discuss, the reveal and all that sort of stuff there, thoughts on it and all that with Kieran, of course. So that's a good one. Go check that out. But as a PSA for you who are interested in the multiplayer, Press Start writes, Activision has announced that Call of Duty Vanguard Alpha is taking place this weekend for all PS4 and PS5 owners. The Alpha will feature the brand new Champion Hill mode, which sees squads of 2 or 3 go up against other squads in a round-robin deathmatch. Everyone starts with the same loadout, and you can collect cash by taking enemy lives and picking up drops scattered around the match, and then use it during to buy better weapons and gear between combat rounds. The new Champion Hill mode takes place on a larger map that's split up between the airship, train yard, market, and courtyard. The Alpha will run from August 28th at 3 a.m. until August 30th at 3 a.m. So Saturday morning, early fucking morning, to early Monday morning. Pretty late for the Alpha begins. Now it's out. You can download it if you like. You can search for it.
How big is it?
PS4. Don't know. I haven't done it yet. Haven't had a chance. But I will be doing it after we've done here later tonight. I presume it's probably like upwards of 20 gigs, to be honest. Or something like that, being a Call of Duty Alpha. So, I mean, I don't think it says if you look on the store, does it? Do they stay on the store, the size? If I click on it? If I click here, does it say? I think it does. Blah, 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 download, blah, 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 blah. It's weird they don't tell you the size, actually, now that I think about it. I've never really considered this. Why don't they tell you the size? Should I do it live? Download from the library. No, I can't. I don't have control on reach. I'm sorry, bro. Or maybe it'll say here. No, it still doesn't say that. Oh, hold on. View download status by the web. I'm clicking all the web links. Waiting. Hold on. We'll find out in a minute. It's waiting. I think it's trying to turn my console on. 21.234 gigabytes is the official size of the Call of Duty Vanguard Alpha that you can pre-download now ahead of the weekend to play.
But what? It's just going to be deathmatch. It's like, okay.
Deathmatch. It's round robin. Get money to buy better weapons. Rotate around. It's squad based. Teams of 2 to 3 players. Hey, deathmatch. What the fuck are you? Do you know games? Do you know Call of Duty?
No, I don't. I really don't.
I'll tell you that I'm a fucking. I'll tell you something funny. Actually, I'll tell you something funny.
All right.
You ready for this?
Ready as I'll ever be.
You keep acting like you aren't the biggest first-person shooter fan in the Explosion Network. But you are. It's like every time I hear you say something like this bullshit that, it's like deathmatch. I just know you're playing it down. I know you're just playing it down. It's like someone who's like a meth addict and like come in and you're like, oh, look at this meth. And you're like, oh, that's not meth, that's cocaine. But secretly you know what's what. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what's what and understand that you're trying to play it down for the memes or whatever.
The clout, yeah.
But yeah. But we all know. It's okay.
Yeah.
You are fiend. Esports level first person shooter Ashley Hobley.
Listen, it's true. You know that guy in every match who like just shoots out of nowhere? Mm-hmm. That's always me.
Always you. That's what I thought. That'll do it for this week's episode of Platinum Explosion. Let us know any comments, questions, or concerns you have about the show by either tweeting at us or joining our Discord. ExplosionNetwork.com/Twitter takes you to all our Twitters. ExplosionNetwork.com/Discord lets you join our Discord. If you'd like the episode and throw us worth $1, head on over to our Ko-fi page, ExplosionNetwork.com/support, where you can set up a recurring monthly payment or just pay a one-off donation. Would appreciate it either and or way. And until... Oh, fuck, hold on. That reminds me. I'm just doing something off the fucking bat. I completely forgot to put this in the show notes, but by God, I got to mention it just real quickly. Real sad, real random outro note here. But I played a couple of shitty trophy games. Let me just shout them out real quickly because every trophy does count. I was about to say every trophy counts, so just let me get this shit out, right? I can't remember if I shouted this one out. So, Space Intervention, right? It's fucking Space Invaders. I can't remember if I said that one last time. Maybe I did. Definitely not. Anyway, Space Invaders. So. Space Invaders. According to PSN profiles, took me 7 minutes, 29 seconds for a platinum. Fucking love that shit. Next up, we got Tokyo Run. Right, so Tokyo Run took me 5 minutes and 59 seconds. It's a game in which you run forward and collect symbols, and you dodge sumo wrestlers or some shit. I don't know. 5 minutes, 59 seconds. And then Alien Destroyer, 15 minutes, 51 seconds. So quite a lengthy game out of this one. It's a first-person shooter in which random War of the Worlds type alien critters and objects spawn randomly. And you shoot them, and eventually there's a boss, and you kill that, and then you get a platinum. So that was something that I've done within the last 2 weeks, I believe. I forgot to mention at least one of those last week, but I got another one. Me and Buddy Watson from Radio Watson may have discovered that there is a developer, or a publisher and developer called Random Spin Games, which is the new Ratatalica. And they are they're providing some really good one. So it's Random Spin. It's really weird though because you look them up, and they're Random Spin Games, and then there's other stuff that published under just Random Spin. That's the exact same people. So they're the same company that made Funny Truck, which was a game I did talk about on here previously, where you just drive around a truck where people just continuously laugh and fall out of it, and there's no reason to the game at all. And that one took me 5 minutes or whatever as well. And all the trophies are just for getting scores. Remember that every trophy counts. See you next week. Hey, don't forget you can subscribe to the show wherever you're currently listening, and you can drop a review if you can. Find more great shows like this and more content over at ExplosionNetwork.com, and please consider supporting us for as little as $1 over on our Ko-fi page by heading to ExplosionNetwork.com/support. Thanks for listening.